So our topic today is Black beauty standards. And over the past decades, the media has been inundated with images of women that are considered to be beautiful or appealing. Generally, this is white or fair skin, blue eyes, and blonde hair. Although there has been a shift in the media to showcase more diversity, there still remains a biased favor towards women of color that have lighter complexion or features that suggest European ancestry. So this panel will explore notions of beauty standards within the Black community and how women with lighter skin are often valued over women with darker complexions. We will also discuss themes of colorism and colonialism. Today with me are guests Dre Ngozi. Dre is a model, multidisciplinary artist, DJ, and holistic health practitioner. Also with me, I have Tracy Moore and her sister Raquel Moore. They are both the founders of More Beauty, a digital brand with a vision to boldly set their own standard of beauty for themselves and for the women who are looking to master the art of living fearlessly. They are also lifestyle bloggers and YouTubers. Thank you for joining me today for this discussion. Before we begin, I want to define the term colorism for the listeners. Colorism is a prejudice or discrimination against individuals with a dark skin tone, typically among people of the same ethnic or racial group. So my question is colorism a problem within the Black community? I will start with Dre.
I think so. Just seeing what's kind of been going on Instagram, seeing this like team dark skin and team light skin thing going on. So apparently I don't really kind of keep up with these things, but it seems like it is still a topic that's being discussed or at least being brought to the forefront. I can mostly talk about it from my own personal experience in my childhood. I don't really see it as much now that I'm older, but definitely growing up I grew up in Ottawa, so it was predominantly like white city at the time. This is in the 90s. And being one of the few people of color in my entire class usually, and maybe there was one other student who was darker skinned, and just seeing how differently they were treated from me. And then, to be honest, like noticing I don't want to say, I think it was the first time I noticed my own privileges as like more of a light-skinned Black woman, and then making me think about seeing instances of colorism within my own family as well, seeing like my darker skinned cousins versus the lighter skinned cousins and how they were treated. So I think bringing it back to like actually starting at home, seeing it in my own home and growing up, and then having moments where like, wow, that's like a thing, that's something that is happening. Where does that come from? And starting to question kind of the roots of that.
Tracy, do you believe that colorism is an issue in the Black community?
I definitely think so. Like Dre said, we see that dark skin versus light skin mentality. I just want to bring up kind of like the fascination that we've been seeing of mixed babies, right? So everybody wants a mixed baby now. And I mean, yes, they're cute and, they're beautiful, but it's like, where is that coming from? And I think that an underlying reason for that fascination is because they're light skinned, because they're not all the way Black and I think it seems innocent, like you see it online and stuff, but when you like kind of look deeper, there might be a level of self-hate. There might be a level of these children are more beautiful because they're, of lighter skin, they have lighter eyes, they have nicer hair. So yeah, definitely colorism is still an issue.
Yeah, and the same question to you, Raquel?
I 100% think that colorism is still an issue, definitely within the Black community. It's almost like it's become something like not a competition, but I do think that women are actually, they do compete with each other in a sense, right? In that battle of beauty and the image of beauty, right? And you mentioned before how it has the European type of features, and the typical natural Black woman has features that are completely different: the wide nose, the coarser hair, bigger full lips, big hips, right? And yeah, there are some Instagram trends, or I guess we are moving in a direction where women are starting to praise like the bigger hips and the bigger lips, but definitely not on a Black woman, right? And that's still something that happens, and I believe women in the Black community do look at each other and realize that 100% that there is a distinct type of difference there.
So why is there this double standard where Black women are not necessarily viewed as attractive with their own traits for their physical body, but when we see it on non-Black women, perhaps Caucasian, it's something that is seen as being appealing and alluring to other people?
Right. It's almost like the Kim Kardashians of this world. They're seen as exotic, right? And I feel like the black image or the black women that have those natural features are just, it's different because they have the black skin to go with it. So I do believe that if a black woman had all white features, that she would be typically, or she would be ideal, the ideal sense of beauty, of what beauty is. Because we even do see that on social medias nowadays. Like if you do see a black woman, they're like, oh, you're beautiful for a black woman. But when they do say that, for me, I find that it's towards a black woman that has like the narrow nose or the wide eyes. You know what I mean?
I'll add to that.
Okay, Tracy?
One thing that I saw recently was, I mean, everyone can bring up Kylie as like the example about cultural appropriation, especially with the lips. But I mean, I tried to ignore the lip thing, and then she did come out with a ponytail that was kind of a yaki ponytail, and was like really like coarse hair. Like it was obviously a fake ponytail. And for some reason that really hit like a chord with me, just because I have naturally curly hair. It's more afro than anything else. And I straighten out my hair all the time. And I've struggled with why I straighten out my hair, but the reason is I'm more accepted. I get less questions. I get less, attention for it. So I straighten it out just because it's easier for my life. I would love to wear it curly and in the Afrocentric way that it is. So when I saw that, I was like, and she was praised for this yaki ponytail. I was like, how come you can wear your hair like that, but I have issues with it, and I have to go through 2 hours of straightening my hair to be accepted. So that's what really hit home with me.
Dre?
I don't want to go into like a deep, history lesson, but part of me really feels like the reason why we're able to take in these images of, like, say, for example, the Kardashians with their boxer braids and big lips and what have you, and because of their lighter skin, it's because for so long, going back to the beginning of slavery, it's not like black women were seen as exotic, but they were also still considered like subhuman. So there was this like guilt in being attracted to a black woman. You're not supposed to, and they were seen as subhuman in order to justify the atrocities that happened to black communities for 500 years, and that energy still exists now because we're still trying to unravel all of that trauma that's happened. It's going to take a few additional hundreds of years to get to a place I feel of like equilibrium and balance. So it's not like it's new that people are fascinated with the typical traits associated with black women. It's I think that discomfort is still there.
So I like what you touched upon about colonialism, and I think that it'd be something good that we can maybe delve into a little bit more and just look at how colonialism has kind of shaped the way we look at race within the black community.
Well, I don't want to like blame necessarily like colorism on that, and because colorism exists within many ethnic groups, but if I'm going to talk about from like a Western black experience, I definitely think colonialism has played a role in colorism. Just going back again to house Negroes versus field Negroes and the privileges attributed to being light skinned, and we've all been conditioned to like believe this, including black people. And so when I talk about like that unraveling of that like conditioning, we're all trying to work through it. That's why I think colorism within the black community from in a Western perspective still exists, because it's so like deeply ingrained, almost like in our, DNA to believe that. And we're still trying to work. And like I said, you see a lot of it sometimes firsthand in your own home, in your own upbringing, your own family, from your grandparents, from your parents, what have you. And I think with every single generation, we really just got to keep trying to break that down and keep asking these types of questions. But it's going to take time. It's definitely going to take time.
Yeah. Maybe I'll just add, like, you notice that you said that we kind of see this in our own homes. I've observed families like where, the mom would say, like, don't stay out too long because you're going to get a tan, and it's not like, a pretty tan, like you're going to get dark. So like, don't stay out in the sun too long. So it's like, these are kind of like the the things that we hear that kind of, I guess, keeps that colonialism, that mentality of the house Negro versus the field Negro alive. Like, we can blame like outside races as well, but it is internal. It definitely is.
As a woman of color, but you're also of lighter complexion, did you ever feel like maybe you were more accepted because of your lighter complexion?
Yeah, so I thought about this a lot. So I definitely was more accepted with like, the cool kids who were predominantly the white kids, because I'm what I like to call safe black. I'm like digestible black. So our school was still pretty segregated. So there were the group of black girls, and I wasn't always accepted in that group because I wasn't black enough. So I was always kind of like in between, but I hung out with the white kids, but I still wasn't white. There's just some things that they just couldn't understand, or that I couldn't understand about them. So I think it comes up for light-skinned black people. Sometimes this like authenticity, like you're not black enough, and I don't know where that comes from, because it's interesting, because like especially in the States, like if you have like a drop of black in you, you are black, a sprinkle of black, and you are black. But then within our own community, it's like you're not really black. You know what I mean? So I'm like, what is that about? Like, where? I get it. Like I really break everything down. There is a hierarchy when it comes to anything. And I understand, like I said, I understand my own privileges, being light-skinned, having what people have said, European features. Like, oh, you're so pretty for like, I've had this like said to me multiple times, you're so pretty for, you must have something else in you. Like, you can't just be, like fully black, whatever that means, and attractive. Like, their brains are going to explode. Like, they can't process that. Yeah. You've got to have something else in you. And there's a time where it's like, I just want to say, like, no, I'm just black, man. Like, I am a black woman, even though I'm, like, quarter white. Or, like, hide that part of me or something, you know what I mean? It's just, like, but this is the journey. This is the processing of really understanding what all of that means.
Raquel?
We're half black, half Indian, but in high school, I considered myself, or I identify myself, a black woman, right? So I remember we had black studies, and our teacher did some type of activity where she split up the class, and all the white people went into one corner and all the black people went into one corner, and there was like one Asian, and I went to go sit with the black people because I do consider myself black, and everyone called it out, and they're like, oh, Raquel, you're not black. So they made me like go sit by myself in the other corner of the room, and I was just like, yeah, in Black Studies class. So I was just like, I am black, and I was kind of trying to convince them, and I never realized that other people didn't look at me the way I look at myself, and it actually kind of really hurt my feelings.
Because they can't see, you're actually a dark-skinned black woman.
Yes, yes, I am a dark-skinned black woman, and I've just always said, like, if people ask me, I'm like, oh, I'm black, right? And even in conversations where I'm having a conversation like this just with a group of black women, and we're talking about hair, we're talking about whatever, for some reason my opinions always get discarded because they're like, oh, Raquel, you're not truly black. Like, you're not really black. You can't really truly identify with what we're talking about here. So it's kind of like my opinion gets minimized, even though I am a dark-skinned black woman, right? I just guess because of our DNA makeup or our genetic background that it kind of discredits you for some reason.
I just want to thank you ladies for joining me today and discussing the topic of beauty standards in the black community.
Stay tuned for part 2 next week.
My name is Kristen Berkeley.